What's up, guys? Dick in here, and I'm gonna go over kind of review with spoilers. Be careful for the new movie It for 2017.
Popcorn?
Popcorn? Is that your favorite? Mine too.
Now, back in the 90s, they did make a little TV miniseries they put together and turned into a movie, and I was a huge fan of that. Fun story, my mom showed me that when I was really young, and the part with Georgie and the clown in the sewer when he opens up his mouth and has the teeth freaked me out when I was a kid, and it got me intrigued into a lot of horror movies, and that kind of opened the door for me to a whole bunch of horror movies, including Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers, and I'm a huge fan of horror movies, so I love the original movie series for It. It was dumbed down for TV, but I think Tim Curry did an excellent job. So, kissing that movie's ass and getting out the way, I want to talk about the new movie. There will be spoilers, and I'll probably miss a few things because I just got back seeing it and only seen it once, and there is a lot to take in. My first initial moments are, Pennywise wasn't in it as much as I would like. I mean, I get it. It's not like a Godzilla movie where you see Godzilla for 2 seconds and then you only get to see him for 5 minutes at the end. He shows up, during the first scene of Georgie. He talks. The talking's really good. And the Georgie scene was extremely brutal. Like, he literally rips off his hand and sucks him in the sewer. Like, that is so brutal compared to the first movie, like the first little mini-series. It wasn't nothing like that, but that was for TV. This one's a lot more brutal. There's blood, there's guts, there's swearing, there's dick measuring contests. They really act like kids, and I really love that. I really do love how they act like kids. I loved all the kids, too. I didn't think I would. I thought some I wouldn't like, but I love literally all of them. And, I think one of the most standout characters, though, I mean, they all are. They're all going to be famous movie stars, but I think the girl that played Beverly, I think she's going to be the next big hit, man. She's going to be the next Ellen Page. Just watch. I think she did really, 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 really good. So, I'm just going to go over a few things. Like, Henry Bowers' gang, I hated him in the first miniseries. And don't get me wrong, I still do hate him, but I feel they dragged it out so bad in the 90s miniseries. And this one, I don't feel they dragged it out. Stuff happened and stuff went together, but he was a bit meaner in this one. I don't think they could have went the whole way like they did in the miniseries. He was a bit kind of a bitch in that one, but this one, he was like a real dumb redneck, just anger guy. And they showed a little backstory to show why he's like that. But at the end, he gets pushed down the sewer and gets his like ribs and bones all fucked up. I'm sure if it didn't kill him, because he went on like a killing spree. The clown got in his head. He ended up killing his dad, and then he was literally about to kill one of the kids, and luckily they didn't get him. They didn't get Mike, luckily. But they didn't show what happened after that. I was kind of wanting a little bit more Henry Bowers, actually, and I'm glad they didn't, because they stretched it out so much in the miniseries. But he could have had a little more backstory to why he was such a dick, and it was there. A little bit was there, but it could have been a little more. That's one thing I do feel the movie is a bit rushed. It's so hard to cover 7 people's lives and then have the clown fight and then have Henry Bowers, have this other stuff. There was a moment where they all went into the house and they did fight the clown, and it was amazing, and I felt it might have ended there. If it would have ended there, I'd been pissed. But they got out, they kind of regrouped, and they went to the sewer and had another fight, which that was the parts that were so amazing. And they had tons of chemistry. The kids getting together was good. I wish the stories went a bit more. I wish there was a bit more friendship being built up. But I thought the kids were great. I thought they did a great job. And let's get to Pennywise. So Pennywise was amazing. I love his creepiness. I love the way he talked. I wish he talked more. I love the way that he basically explained the book and explained what he was. They were really clear about it. They were like, he is a demon. He shows up every 20-something, 30-odd years. He eats these people and goes away. Like, they said a lot of this stuff, and they, guessed a lot of it. Like, it was more like, oh, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. Oh, Pennywise comes back. It's like they're the only people that ever discovered it out of every time he's ever done it. They're the only people that discovered what's going on. That stuff kind of happened quick. There's a lot of guessing that was, correct. They were like, oh, this is what's going on. And it was right. But for them to guess it like that, it was a bit off. A little bit. It was rushed. Like I said, I think this movie should have been longer. It's so hard to get all of this book into even just a one part of a movie. I don't know how they're going to pull off the second part, but in the miniseries, the second part of the movie is my favorite movie. And I like it because it was so poetic, but they kept that stuff in here. January Embers, my heart burns there too. One of my favorite lines in the movie. I used that line in the song before. I loved it so much. It's in there a lot. I love it so much. he thrusts his fist against the post, but still insists he sees the ghost. That's in there a lot. I think I'm going to get that tattooed, to be honest. I love that line so much. I have for 20 years. And I love they keep that poetry in the first movie. I actually think I like this movie better than the first miniseries. Like, this is really good. I need to see it again, and I need to see what they're going to do with part 2, but it was really good. Pennywise was amazing. The way he was acting, the way he moves around. There was a lot of heavy CGI on him. I will say there's a lot of scenes where he opens up his mouth. You see the deadlight where he drags Georgie at the beginning into the sewers. There's tons and tons of CGI when it comes to him. But I think it was done all right. It looked good. I don't know if it's going to last over the few years of that CGI, but I think it looked alright. It looked good. And I think the guy that played Pennywise did a phenomenal job. The only part that threw me off a little bit, I know I'm rambling, it's getting kind of 6 minutes. The only part that threw me off a little bit is at the end of the movie when they finally kind of got him down. And Pennywise was like down and like he was kind of scouring and freaking out. And then he escapes after they kind of beaten his ass. Now, it makes sense to me that he scoured down. I'll talk about that in a minute, but it kind of made him look very, very weak. It made him look very, very weak. But the thing about Pennywise is he's not real. Like, you'll find out in the second movie is that it's kind of like a, in the original miniseries, it was a spider. It was a crazy spider that had, like, mind control things that lured kids down, and the spider would eat them. Pennywise was just the kid's fear, the kid's imagination. And so that's why I think it comes in. Once the kids started getting over their fear, the scary hallucinations kind of went away, and they saw the clown in a weak state because they were up. They weren't scared. They were strong. They were powerful. So the clown was at a weak state, and he was down. And it made them feel like they were winning. But in reality, that is just another illusion. That's them just being more stronger and not having their little minds be taken by its dead light. So at the end, they do the cutting the wrist and the holding the blood. I think when Bill was going around cutting everyone, like, he'd cut some of them and pull it up and there'd be no blood on the thing. Their hands are bloody as hell. Like, each one they had cut, there'd be blood. But I thought that was cool. I think the kiss at the end was cool as well. They left it a pretty cool cliffhanger. I like it. I really can't wait to see part 2. It's not really a cliffhanger to the point where it's like, oh man, did Pennywise die? I mean, he was messed up, and you know he's going to come back for chapter 2. But it was more like just, I wanted to keep going. I wanted that kiss to happen, and then like it instantly go to part 2. It's cool. It's cool. I'm excited to see what part 2 does. I want to see what they cast. I want to see when it's coming out, and I want to see it like 3 hours ago. I want to see what happens. But that's my 8-minute rant on the movie. I really, first impressions, I mean, I give it like, I'll say a 9 out of 10. And the only takeaway that point is because it needed to be longer, Pennywise needed to be in it more, and I could have just used more story with the kids. I know I'm going to say that a lot, but I just could have used a bit more Pennywise, and it could have been longer, because it's hella hard to tell a story of 7+ kids and narrow it all down in like 2.5 hours. That's extremely hard, and still get Pennywise in there, and still get the fight scenes and the story moving. It's very difficult, but definitely Pennywise stood out. The girl that played Beverly Marsh, she did a great job. Like they put her in some sketchy stuff, and she did great. I think all the kids did great. I thought the movie was great, you know? Definitely would give it a 9 out of 10, and I definitely can't wait to part 2. And I definitely want to go see it again before it hits DVDs and such. But it was awesome. Recommend you guys highly go and see it. Whether you're not a fan of the miniseries or not, it was worth it. And just another thing, keep note, it wasn't that scary. It was gory. It was like, oh my god, it's kind of freaky. The jump scares weren't that bad. Like, I didn't really feel scared at all. But I laughed a lot. It was very funny. So that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Did you guys see it? Let me know what you guys think about it. Like the video. Subscribe to Duck Opinion. We'll have a lot more of everything coming here soon. Thank you guys for watching. It was awesome. Go see it. Talk to you guys on the flip side. Peace.